It's a magnificent landmark in Buffalo history, built in stages between 1920 and 1950 for the Trico Products Corporation, the reigning champions. They built windshield wipers. They established very important community foundations. Great example of this reinforced concrete industrial architecture that Buffalo is world famous for. And it's been standing here on the northern edge of downtown, Allentown to one side, Fruit Belt to the other, Medical Corridor to the north. It's a great building in a great location, and unfortunately city leaders and the medical campus want to demolish it rather than rehabilitate it.
Well, tell me a little bit about what that would mean. I know we've seen some other buildings from across the street. The medical campus is one of the growing areas in the city.
Yes.
How important would this land, this building be to helping kind of facilitate that growth?
Well, number one, not having a building there, it's going to be much more expensive to build a new building there. So part of it is maybe the politics of urban renewal and agencies getting money to take buildings down. But this is the type of building that if a building can be rehabilitated, it's this one. In fact, two other Trico factories in Buffalo have been rehabbed. The Larkin building, obviously the one across the street, which you mentioned, all the same type of construction, very amenable to all kinds of uses, whether it's a medical school, whether it's a grocery store or an art museum. You can have a lot of things in this building, and it's big enough, certainly, to accommodate a lot, but its location is really what makes it unique. And I think that if we preserve this building, the medical campus can grow into it. There's tons of space inside, but we can have other uses too for both communities. And, you know, it can kind of serve to relink what has been unfortunately lost over the past number of years.
Why has it sat empty for so long?
Well, in fact, it was going to be converted into condominiums, and the man who was undertaking that project unfortunately died. And it was put up at auction, and there were many bidders, and it happened that people associated with the medical campus actually had the high bid, and they have constructed a plan with the city, in fact, to demolish it. So they had no incentive to ever put anyone in there. And so now apparently they're thinking, well, we can demolish this in 5 weeks, and we will do whatever it takes, up to and including certainly filing a lawsuit to make sure that they don't take this landmark down beginning 5 weeks from now.
I did reach out to the city. The building is currently owned by the Buffalo Urban Development Committee.
That's right.
Not the city or the medical campus.
Well, you know, the Buffalo Urban Development Corporation is an arm of the city, just like the Buffalo Urban Renewal Agency is. The chairman of Buffalo Urban Development is Mayor Brown. So the city is ultimately, I think, responsible for whether this building stays or goes.
We were told today by spokesman Mike DeGeorge that they would have to go through, there's a contract issued in place. They would have to go through an application process with the Historic Preservation Society and all that, and that none of that's even happened yet. So what he told me is it's premature. So maybe he's not on the same page as far as what the plan is, with what the proposal was for when they had talked about demolishing it.
That's interesting. You know, we hope he has a better chronology than apparently the medical campus has, because documents that the medical campus has been showing people indicate that they want to begin demolition on April 15th. We agree. There has to be a lengthy process, environmental review process. There have to be public hearings. You know, people have to review these documents. They have to be allowed to comment on them. So there is actually an extended period. And for a building like this is a National Register landmark. And it probably will be a local landmark as well very soon. These buildings, because their landmarks, require great care and consideration before anything is done, certainly something as drastic as demolition.
With a building like this, does it make it harder for a developer to come in with all the care that has to be taken, or is it harder to start from scratch, do you think?
You know, that's interesting. It's a good point. The big development projects in Buffalo right now all involve developers who came and sought out the landmark status. In fact, the fellow who was going to developed this sought out the National Register listing, the Lafayette Hotel, the Statler, you name it. Those big projects that we see and that we're so proud of are all historic rehab projects, and they do it because they get very important grant, tax benefits, things like that. So the historic status actually gives you benefits to rehabilitate.
And those seem to be really, I guess the word would be popular in the city, because
those are amazingly popular, and they're becoming more so. And we have, just across the street, there's one that took advantage of it, the M. Weil building, which is filled to capacity. They're expanding there. 79 Perry Street in the Cobblestone Historic District, another one. The Larkin building, and in fact, another Trico factory up on Main Street is now Tri-Main. So the demand is there. I think the Allentown and the Fruit Belt, the communities there, would love to see a multi-use building here that has maybe a supermarket, who knows what else, dry cleaners, fitness center, daycare, everything. And that's what progressive cities, Toronto has it, New York City, Rochester, Syracuse, we should have it too, and it's a great location for it.
Why do you think it takes till a building is threatened to be torn down before some action is ever taken on rehabilitating it or bringing it?
Well, it happens very often, but that's the thing that makes the news. There are many, like the Alling and Corey warehouse on Division Street was just successfully rehabbed. It's now student housing for ECC. The developer never thought about demolishing it. In fact, again, seeking landmark status to take advantage of the benefits. And that opened last year to some fanfare, but nothing like, oh, I'm going to demolish it and then we have to landmark it. So there's a lot of conscientious rehabilitation going on in Buffalo. Unfortunately, some people still haven't seen the light. So our job is to kind of make them see the light and understand that it's not just what's good for you. You have to think about the entire community. And rehabilitating this building in this location can take advantage of the tax benefits, the incentives, but also take advantage of the heritage that's embodied within that building.